Hi, Arcfieldweather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday morning, March the 19th. We have a lot to talk about this morning. We have a snowstorm that's underway right now in places like Kansas and Nebraska. That snowstorm will push to the north and east with blizzard conditions all the way from Kansas and Nebraska across Iowa and into the southeastern part of Minnesota and upstate Wisconsin later on today into tonight. That same system kind of slides across the nation from west to east and reaches the eastern seaboard with rain later tomorrow into tomorrow night across much of the mid-Atlantic region and a decent rainfall at that. Low pressure will kind of reignite along the mid-Atlantic coastline later tomorrow into tomorrow night, and that could pull enough cold air for a changeover to snow in portions of the mid-Atlantic region, such as northeastern Pennsylvania, including the Pocono Mountains, interior sections of upstate New Jersey, those higher elevation locations of northwestern New Jersey. Can even be some small accumulations late tomorrow night into early Friday morning in those places like northeastern PA, northwestern New Jersey. And then Friday will be a colder and windy day across the northeast, across the mid-Atlantic region, wind gusts possible up to 50 miles per hour or so on Friday. Places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, and all across the northeast and mid-Atlantic region. Longer term, and we'll kind of focus in on the stratospheric warming event in tomorrow's video discussion, but with this ongoing stratospheric warming event, I absolutely believe we'll have additional cold air outbreaks going right through the end of the month of March and well into the month of April. Again, we'll kind of focus in on that over in tomorrow's video discussion. Today I kind of want to focus in on this snowstorm threat across the heartland here, among other things. I want to start off, though, by looking at the very latest sea surface temperature anomaly map here, starting to formulate, starting to take a look ahead to the summer tropical season in the Atlantic Basin. And I wanted to point out a few of the factors that I'm monitoring closely here as we wrap up the month of March and soon head into the month of April. First of all, here is the west coast of South America right here, and this is the equator right along this line right here. You can see kind of a mixed bag here in terms of water temperatures in the tropical Pacific Ocean. Some areas a little bit below normal, that's represented by the blue. Some areas above normal, especially just off the west coast of South America, warmer than normal, represented here in orange. This is kind of an indication of what I expect over the next few months going into the summer tropical season. Relatively neutral conditions, maybe on the side of a weak La Nina with colder than normal conditions in the equatorial part of the Pacific Ocean, but kind of a weak signal if indeed it is a La Nina. And again, it could be more or less neutral. As it stands right now, relatively neutral here, again, with some areas above normal temperatures and some areas below. So that's one area of focus here, and certainly we'll monitor the situation over the next several weeks. Now, in the Atlantic Basin, yes, we have warmer than normal conditions here in the breeding grounds region of the Atlantic Ocean, but just slightly above normal. I would say this is moderately warm conditions, not like what we've experienced over the past couple of summers. So this too is not too far from a neutral signal, maybe again slightly above normal water temperatures here in the Atlantic Ocean, and that is probably going to be the pattern over the next few months. I don't see well above normal water temperatures in this area. And also notice, this is the west coast of Africa right here. We have a pocket of colder than normal conditions here off the west coast of Africa right now. That too will be monitored closely over the next several weeks. Very preliminary, but all in all right now, this is suggesting to me maybe kind of a normal kind of a tropical season in the Atlantic Basin with a lot of mixed signals, a lot of neutral signals looking likely here over the next few months. Again, something we'll fine-tune over the next several weeks. One thing I do want to mention, though, one strong signal that's coming out to me loud and clear, looks like in the nation's midsection, a hot and dry summer season. and that could mean excessive heat, very, very severe drought possible, places from Texas all the way up to North Dakota. That signal's kind of coming through to me loud and clear, and again, we'll focus in on that over the next several weeks and ultimately have a tropical and summertime outlook here at arcfieldweather.com. Well, let's get back to kind of the short-term pattern here, and we have an all-out snowstorm for a good part of the nation's heartland here, from Kansas and Nebraska northeastward to Iowa, and then ultimately into southeastern Minnesota and upstate Wisconsin over the next 12 to 24 hours or so. And in that entire stretch, there will be blizzard conditions with wind gusts past 50 miles per hour or so and several inches of accumulating snow. This is the latest weather warnings map from NOAA across the continental U.S. All of this is in orange here, represents blizzard warnings. Again, from Kansas here to Nebraska, up across Iowa into southeastern Minnesota, and ultimately those blizzard watches and warnings can extend all the way up into Wisconsin. But this is the area of concern for not only a snowstorm, a late season snowstorm, but blizzard conditions. Again, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin over the next 12 to 24 hours or so. Now, we've talked at length over the last several weeks here that additional cold air outbreaks this time of the year into the second half of the month of March and ultimately into April can lead to severe weather outbreaks. Indeed, we had a widespread severe weather outbreak last week and Friday, Saturday, Sunday with numerous tornadoes. And while this will not be nearly as widespread as last week, and there is a possibility of severe weather later today into tonight in the warm sector of this storm system, this is an enhanced risk up across central Illinois for later today into tonight, and really a good chance of strong to severe thunderstorms all the way from the upper part of the Midwest into the Tennessee Valley region. Now, the cold sector, Kansas, Nebraska, up across Iowa, right in this area right here. This is where the cold air exists and the threat of that blizzard conditions. In the warm sector, south and east of that surface low pressure area, again, severe weather, possibility of some isolated tornadoes included in this severe weather threat for later today into tonight across the upper part of the Midwest. And again, that threat extends all the way down across the Tennessee Valley into some sections of the lower Mississippi Valley region. Well, let's take a look at last night's zero-Z run of the GFS, and we've talked about additional cold air outbreaks throughout the month of March, and it looks like that pattern will continue well into the month of April as well. And again, a main contributor is an ongoing stratospheric warming event. Again, we'll focus in on that in tomorrow's video discussion. As we start off the day here today, we have warmer than normal conditions at the 850 millibar level in the eastern half of the nation and colder than normal out across the west. And we've talked about how this sets up a battle zone right in the middle of this temperature pattern here, with the cold, dry air off to the west, the warm, more humid air off to the east, and that sets up the battle zone here, fuels the fire, fuels the intensification of surface low pressure, and again, severe weather threat later today into tonight across the upper part of the Midwest, and that blizzard from Kansas and Nebraska across Iowa into Minnesota and Wisconsin. Now, let's move forward here, and we'll certainly see additional cold air outbreaks. Now, colder than normal conditions in late March and April, certainly not the same as colder than normal conditions in January, but nonetheless, they're important players, and they can lead to additional snow across the northern U.S. Indeed, we do have additional snow threats in addition to today's threat out across the heartland. It looks like over the next few weeks there will be additional snow threats across much of the northern U.S. And again, we'll kind of focus in on that in tomorrow's video discussion. Here we are. By later on tonight, that battle zone region moves into the Midwest. And again, this is the area of concern for strong to severe thunderstorms later today and tonight. Illinois, all the way down to the Tennessee Valley, the lower Mississippi Valley as well. That colder than normal air mass slides east. Here we are by late tomorrow into tomorrow night, and surface low pressure will kind of develop along the Middle Atlantic coastline. Enough cold air may filter in late tomorrow night into early Friday morning for a changeover of the rain to snow in places like northeastern Pennsylvania, northwestern New Jersey, even some small accumulations possible. Could even see a few snowflakes down into the far northern and western suburbs of Philly, let's say, late tomorrow night. And something we'll monitor over the next 12 to 24 hours or so. Now we move into the upcoming weekend, and here we go on Saturday morning, yet another colder than normal air mass pushing across the Great Lakes region into the Mid-Atlantic, Northeast U.S. By the Sunday will be a much cooler day, places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, than compared to Saturday. Then we move forward into the latter part of the upcoming weekend. Still, a lot of clashes here across the nation. Right in this case, we have warmer than normal out across the west, colder than normal by Monday night time frame up across the Great Lakes region, and that colder than normal air mass slides right into the Mid-Atlantic by the middle part of next week. This is the Wednesday of next week, a week from today. Colder than normal conditions throughout the Mid-Atlantic, Northeast U.S., and here we go into next Thursday. This happens to be when the baseball season gets underway. There were a couple games this week, yesterday and today, but the season gets underway in earnest next Thursday, the 27th of March, and it certainly looks like there'll be plenty of early season games in cold weather, especially across the Great Lakes region into the Mid-Atlantic, Northeast U.S. This is the forecast map of 850 millibar temperature anomalies next Thursday, March 27th. We'll go a little farther in time to the end of next week, and we simply have a lot of colder than normal air up across Canada, and that many of those cold air masses will indeed push down into the U.S. as we go into the month of April. This is almost at the end of March here. This is next Saturday, March 29th. Warmer than normal down across the southern U.S. We'll go out a little bit farther in time. And again, some of that cold air certainly makes its way into the Midwest, the Great Lakes, the Northeast U.S. This is all the way out now, Monday, March 31st, the very last day of the month of March. Now, not only will there be colder than normal air masses throughout the latter part of March into April, but a lot of upper level lows sliding across the nation. In other words, an active weather pattern that will have some more snow across the northern states, some more severe weather, generally across the southern and central part of the nation here. We have an upper level low right now out in the middle part of the nation contributing to that strong surface low here. This is 500 millibar height anomaly maps we're looking at. All of these maps, by the way, from tropicaltidbits.com. We'll move forward here in time, and as kind of was the case last week, kind of have that initial upper level low, and then a secondary forms to the south and east. And this is the forecast map for later tomorrow, and with this secondary system that kind of dives farther to the south and east, that'll help to formulate a low pressure area right in this region later tomorrow into tomorrow night, the Mid-Atlantic coastline, with that upper level low sliding this far to the south and east. Again, watch this area right along the Jersey coastline late tomorrow night, maybe Long Island area for that surface low development. Why is that important? Well, that'll help to draw in some colder air. And again, we could see a changeover from rain to snow late tomorrow night, places like northeastern PA, the Poconos, northwestern New Jersey. Now let's move forward in time and watch this active weather pattern continue. Here we go into Friday morning, and here is that upper level low now sliding to the coastline. Friday, on the backside of a strong cold frontal passage, will be a windy, colder day in the Mid-Atlantic, in the Northeast U.S. Once again, I expect wind gusts of 50 miles per hour or so. We've had many very windy days over the last several weeks. Then we move forward here, and again, we have just an active pattern with multiple upper level lows. Here we are by the latter part of the upcoming weekend into Sunday, Monday time frame. Another strong upper level low, this time situated over the Great Lakes region, strong ridging out across the western states. Again, this sets up kind of a battle zone region right in this area right here with that upper level low, then sliding into the east. We'll go out a little later into next week. This is all the way out to next Thursday. And we saw a moment ago those 850 millibar temperature anomalies, colder than normal conditions right in this part of the nation, the upper Midwest, all the way to the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast U.S. Well, let's wrap up with the surface forecast maps, and here we go. Very strong low pressure out across right smack dab in the middle of the nation. Blizzard conditions, Kansas, Nebraska. Look at this pressure gradient pattern here. Again, the tighter these black lines, the tighter these isobars, the stronger the winds. And this is a very, very strong pressure gradient here. That's leading to these blizzard conditions here with 50+ mile per hour winds on the cold sector of this storm. It's cold enough for snow and several inches of snow to go along with the 50+ mile per hour wind gusts. Will go out a little bit farther in time, and it shifts slowly to the north and east, pounding away at Iowa by midday today with significant snowfall as well. And then again, we have to watch the warm sector right in this area right here for the possibility of some severe weather later today into tonight in the warm sector of this particular storm system, at least warm sector as of early this evening. Then we go into the overnight hours. That snow threat pushes off to the north and east, focused in on Wisconsin, and then ultimately into the Hudson Bay region of Canada. And again, watching this area right here, just ahead of the cold front. The cold front at this particular time is right in this area right here. So you're still in the warm sector at this time up across the Ohio Valley. Watch out for some strong thunderstorms later on tonight. That same cold front slides to the east, and we talked about the support of that upper level low helping to generate another surface low pressure area, in this case right along the New Jersey coastline or maybe Long Island by later on tomorrow night, and this will help to drag some colder air, push some colder air into the cold sector of this particular storm system. And indeed we could have a changeover from rain to snow upstate Pennsylvania, places like northeastern PA, the Poconos, interior sections of northwestern New Jersey where you have those higher elevation locations here, maybe even some small accumulations. Again, an outside chance snowflakes can mix in all the way down into the far northern western suburbs of Philly, let's say, late tomorrow night into the early morning hours on Friday. We'll move out a little bit farther in time. Snow up across interior New York State early Friday morning, a 987 millibar low. Ski country might be happy with this snow early to midday on Friday up across those higher elevations of places like the Catskills and New Hampshire and Vermont as well. Strong pressure gradient as well here included in this pattern on Friday. Expect wind gusts of 50 miles per hour or so, places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, as early as late Thursday night, but more likely on Friday. Excuse me. Then we go into the upcoming weekend, and there will be a weak system pushing south and east across the Great Lakes. Could cause some rain or snow showers in the Mid-Atlantic, in the Northeast U.S. Over the upcoming weekend, and then we'll go into the latter part of the weekend here. Sunday, another storm system. Again, a very active weather pattern with multiple waves of energy in the upper part of the atmosphere, multiple upper level low pressure systems, and that will spawn another strong storm across the northern plains with accumulating snow by the end of the upcoming weekend. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.